Come on, Juice. Oh, we gotta get some work done. Where's everybody at? What are you doing?
Have you seen this channel? It's great.
We gotta install these fuel lines.
Oh.
Come on.
All right, here we go. I got in a little bit of trouble for taking some time off and relaxing for a second.
Yep.
But we've got to get a fuel system plumbed on this dual tank 86 Chevy C10 pickup.
Yep.
Okay. The way I do it, I do know about these. Okay. So I will talk about them as we go along, but just so you know, I do know about them. I'm very well aware of them. Okay.
We know they exist.
Yes. Don't care for them, but I will talk about it after a bit. Okay.
All right.
All right. So I think we got everything that we need to plumb this thing. We went with a mini Fuel Lab fuel pressure regulator on this one.
Okay.
Holley makes the exact same one, but I couldn't get one in time to do this, so I went with that one.
We've used the Fuel Lab before.
Yep, they work fine. A Wix fuel filter.
Yep.
All right. It has a line fitting in, a quick connect on the outlet. All right.
Okay.
Very common Wix filter, 10 micron.
Yes.
Which is what you would want. Okay. And we have a push lock Y fitting.
Okay.
And an assortment of different fittings that I might need for it, especially this one off the regulator. But these 6AN fittings, you can get these in like a lot of different ways, you know.
Yeah, a lot of different
styles,
shapes and sizes.
Yep. So for whatever you need, all right. Yeah, and then of course some line, and we already had the fuel tanks up, and you watched us put the tanks and the sending units in, and they're just hanging over the frame rail, okay?
Yep.
So, should we make it to the whiteboard?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. All right, so what we're gonna do, we need that 58 pounds of fuel pressure going up to our fuel rail, okay? So we're going to go off the left side tank and the right side tank, and we are going to come into that Y fitting with our high pressure lines that we ran off those units, okay?
Okay.
From there, they're going to go through the fuel filter. Onto there, it'll go to the fuel pressure regulator, and it will end up at the fuel rail, okay? The return system for the pressure regulator, we'll talk about that once we get the high side pressure side down, okay?
Okay.
All right, but just so a person understands it, when you have a regulator in there like this, it'll have 58 pounds of pressure here, but it'll also have 58 pounds of pressure here, okay?
Yeah.
It's not going to be 100 pounds of pressure going up to that regulator. It's 58 still, all the way through there, okay?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right. So let's start plumbing it. All right.
All right.
Okay. All right. So we only have a little bit of real estate in here to work with. Okay. So what I did is I kind of based it off where I'm going to put my fuel filter.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I kind of went into the center here. These are my lines that are coming. That's my high pressure line that's coming from my pump. Okay.
Okay.
That's my return, but it's going to go there on this one. And this is my purge line. Okay. So we won't worry about that right now, but we will talk about that. Okay. So I know that I got to get a fitting in here, my Y fitting in here, a fuel filter, and then a pressure regulator, and then a line going up to the fuel rail. Okay.
Okay.
So I just went ahead, I went off of a hole that was already here in the frame instead of drilling another one. And I made a bracket for it to sit right there, okay?
Okay.
So let's bolt that thing in, and then we'll probably work backwards on this, and then we'll do the fuel pressure regulator side, okay?
Okay.
All right.
So that way, you know, you've got plenty of room to get your filter in and out of there.
Yeah, and some flex, you know, in the hose, because I don't want to put things so tight together that you can't get a new fuel filter in there.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll bolt my bracket in there.
Okay.
I made this. Okay. You can buy them, but I figured why not just make it. It only took an hour or two to do it, so, instead of buying it. So
Yeah.
So it's gonna have a 7/16 bolt. I made it out of a piece of 2 1/4 inch exhaust pipe and then another little steel bracket. Welded them together and a hose clamp, of course. But it'll work nicely for a holder for it. All right. The ones that you buy, they work nicely too, but I just didn't have one and I didn't have the time to wait for one. So
sometimes you gotta improvise.
right. And mine's a much heavier duty than something you buy.
Yeah.
Right.
No, you said duty.
I knew you'd get me on that one.
Oh yeah.
All right. Make sense?
Yep.
All right.
Pretty sweet.
Two 1/4 inch pipe fit this filter perfectly. I like to make the filter just as easy to take off and put on as what anything else you'd run across.
Yeah.
Make it as easy as possible. So a hose clamp, 2 fittings, and you're done, you know.
Sweet.
The fittings, I won't use any plastic fittings on this line. It's not flex fuel, but it still doesn't matter to me. Everything will be stainless steel or aluminum. So this is a push lock fitting that I bought from Amazon probably. And that'll work for that side of it. Okay. Yep. So now this side, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, this week I bought a flaring tool that actually does GM O-ring flares. Okay.
Look at that.
Yep. So I made that flare. It also does the transmission lines, and it also does fuel, the quick connect fuel.
Oh, cool.
Lines. Yeah. So I can make those lines now, which is pretty sweet. So I made this one, but if you can't make one, you can buy like a 1-foot-long length of this stuff.
With the
Yeah.
O-ring fittings.
Yep, and on the other end of it, it has a push lock fitting, just like what that one was.
Ooh, yeah. Is that the same piece you used before?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. But now I'm going to make them on my own, so I don't have to buy those pieces.
Cool.
Okay? So at this point then, we need to come in here. We'll hit the Y block, and then I'll need to cut a piece of length off of my end here. Okay? Going into my fuel filter.
Oh, I see.
And we'll go to the Y block.
Okay.
All right. So
Y block. That's a Ford thing.
okay, so I found that. We did one of these before, and I didn't have a push lock fitting like this. It had thread-on fittings, kind of like that.
Oh yeah. And then,
So then I ended up having to buy 3 more fittings.
yeah, it was like these.
You know, which adds up.
Yeah.
Plus you have more clamps and more of an opportunity for something to leak. So
Yeah.
I found that, and so I'll use this. That was the other thing. We're going to try and do it with a lot less me making flares.
Yeah.
So it should make it a little easier.
I have noticed that you have been wearing a little less flare than everyone else lately.
Yeah, I'm trying to wear less flare.
Yeah, but I was hoping you could do at least like 6 pieces of flare today.
I'm not doing 6.
I mean, if you don't want to be a team player.
I don't.
Okay.
I think we've established that I'm not a team player. Haven't we? All right. So the thing with push locks, these things are designed to have, you just push the 3/8 fuel line over this, or whatever size fitting you're working with. And really that's all it needs. Once I push them over it, it is on there.
Yeah, it does not come off.
No, but the way that I get them on is I use a little dielectric grease. Dielectric grease will not hurt these fuel lines, okay?
Okay.
Won't make them deteriorate over time. So I use dielectric grease for tons of different things. For that reason, if it has anything to do with rubber.
Yeah, rubber lines.
Yeah. But it's not the easiest thing in the world to push a hose over the push lock connectors. So I'm going to push some hoses over it right now before we put it in the truck.
Okay.
Okay. And then we can cut them off to length later. And those get a different kind of fitting. So it'll be a little bit easier that way.
Okay.
All right. So we got some 3/8 fuel injection hose here. Good to 225 pounds. So, and they do not need a clamp after you put them on.
Yeah,
And,
they do not come off.
Yeah. If you have to put them in a vise or something, okay. But if you push that hose on there up to the point where it's up against that washer, it's pretty impressive. It will not come off.
Yeah.
And it will not leak. Okay?
Cool.
So,
That's what you want.
yeah. Exactly. So, we know we're going to probably at least be out to here, going to the fuel filter. Okay?
Okay.
So, we'll leave that much. And then we'll have another length of line that will go to a steel line that's coming from the right-hand tank. So, we'll put another length on it.
Okay.
Oh, the push lock ones, when you do them and you have to, when you screw up and you have to get it apart.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And the washer still moves a little. Okay. All right, so there you have it, all right?
Okay.
So we can cut some length. Give a better amount on this one just in case. I gotta get some new cutters. But you can turn the hoses, which is kind of cool.
Yeah,
You
like
know,
rotate them.
You know, the memory of the hose. All right, so now we can go push that onto the left-hand tank.
Okay.
Grease her up. All right, it's on there. All right, so not the easiest thing to push them over them, but that's all you do, okay?
Okay.
So now, here we go. Let's do a line from here to there, okay? So you don't want it pulling on anything. You want everything kind of loose. I'll put a piece of wire loom around that to protect it from not rubbing on the frame. So I'll give it a little bit of slack and come back here. So I want my line to be about, what, 7 inches? 7.5?
Yeah, 7.5, probably safe.
All right, so let's do 7.5. Okay, my flare's gonna shorten it up just a little bit. Because remember, we gotta make a flare.
Yeah.
One thing I don't like about those fuel filters is they don't come with a new O-ring. You can buy them, they're brown, 3/8 fuel filter O-ring. Okay, so I am going to put a flare on this end. I don't really just want that line just out there flopping around. So I'm gonna bend it over to the frame, and then I'm gonna bend it back up towards my fitting so I can actually tie the line to the frame.
Okay.
All right, and that'll stop it from wiggling around.
Okay.
So I'll put my bends in it first. If you're gonna put a decent sized bend in steel line, you definitely want to get one of these. And I'm just guessing it's probably about 1 inch over. The way I'm doing it If I'm too far off, I can adjust it. Let's go check it out. Okay, and it's a little ways away, so I can add a little bit of bend to this one, and then I'll just put a bend up to hit my line. Okay, so. Go. Look okay?
Sure.
Good.
Cool.
So, all right, so it hits my frame nicely there. So all I got to do is make a flare and get my lines clamped onto that. Okay. Okay, flaring. Put your 3/8 tool up to it for your length. Okay. Tighten this baby down all the way. Use this little arm. That's what that thing is kind of for.
Just kind of.
Yep. So you got that. You're going to start off with your double flare tool, but you're not going to make a double flare. Okay? You're just going to make like a quarter of a flare, basically.
I'm telling you, that's not enough flare. I'd like to see more flare.
We've done enough flares. And if you want it to go a little smoother, add a little bit of lubricant to your flaring tool. It makes it a lot easier. A little less friction. Not necessary, but it does help. Okay, so you're going to tighten it to where you think you got a little bubble on the end, basically, and it's not going to fold over. So you can pull your tool out, take a look at it, see what you got. You want it to be kind of rounded off. I'm going to go with another tiny little bit. All right.
Cool.
So there you have it. High pressure line, you got to have something like that. You can't just put it over a line and expect it to stay on. So that'll stop it. And plus we're going to put 2 pinch clamps on it. All right. In fact, I'll do it now.
So you can't forget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's already kind of greasy. All right, so there's the crimp that we just made, or what would you call that? The flare? Yeah. So there's the flare that we just made. So I got my line just a little bit behind it, and I'm going to do another clamp just to have a little extra insurance, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so there we have it.
Sweet.
That'll be pretty good. We'll end up tying it to the frame here. We got plenty of movement there, right?
Yep.
And fuel pressure regulator?
Yeah.
All right.
Go that way.
All right, so we got to get a fuel pressure regulator in this thing, okay? It's pretty small, okay? And that's why I like these. But when you buy one of them, they don't come with all the fittings that you're going to need. I had to buy a cap, a block off fitting for this side, okay?
Okay.
And I had to buy a T, all right?
Okay.
Didn't have to, but by buying this T, it's going to save me a bunch of room and make it a little bit more simple. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So, that's the return side. Okay. This is the pressure side. All right. So T fitting there, and I put the cap on it. Okay. It also has a spot in it for a fuel, like a pressure gauge, if somebody wanted to do that.
Yeah.
This portion of it's for like if somebody had boost or anything like that, where they wanted a little bit higher fuel pressure under load, then they'd run a vacuum line to that. But we'll just put a cap on it, and it won't affect anything at all. And this is the pressure adjustment. Okay.
Okay.
And I've used them in the past, and I adjust them, and then I check them later on, a year later or whatever, and it's 58 pounds.
Yep.
You know, they work great.
Yep.
These have worked great, and of course Holley's work great, you know.
Yeah.
So let's put this on, and then we'll make the line that goes between it and the fuel filter.
Okay.
Right?
Sweet.
Okay, so let's do it. Oh, so I already drilled a hole where I want it. Right behind the plastic shield, of course. There it goes. Gonna go right there. And I don't know what the angle of it's gonna be just yet. That's the other thing that's cool about these. You can put them whatever position works for you, you know? So like on this one, we need to run a line now from here up to that one. Okay? So let me tighten that up.
Okay.
We good?
Sweet.
All right, so my high pressure line is going to go from this stainless steel fitting down to another push lock fitting.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to need, this is my fitting. So my line will be about there.
Okay.
Okay? Okay, so it's going to be a lot easier to do a push lock here on a bench. So I'll do this one first.
What'd you call me?
What did I say, bench?
Yeah.
Well, you say potato, I say potato, right? Okay, all right, so again, push lock fitting, no clamp required. But the other one is not a push lock, so we will put 2 clamps on it. Let's go do that. Yeah. And those fittings, they push over really easy.
Yeah.
This one. That fitting is even kind of designed for 2 clamps on it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so there we have from the fuel filter to the regulator. So now we're just going to need a line going from the, just passing through, okay?
Okay.
That'll be our return line. And we need a line that goes up to our fuel rail, okay? That one. All right? It's not attached yet.
Yeah.
But it will be. It's going to come out right here.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
So from here, I'm going to take a 90 and I'm going to shoot it up that direction. And my hose then will come up and curl around and go to that line. Okay. All right? And it'll give me access to the adjustment on the regulator also. Okay? Okay. So let's put a line on it. CRC technician grade dielectric grease.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor. Okay, another push lock fitting. And when it's a 90, it's even harder to do.
So helping you make noises?
Yeah. Without the grease, it's impossible.
Yeah.
And you can put them in a vise, you know, don't crank down on them, but just set them in a vise and hold them in a vise. Give you something to push on. And then I've seen where people had something better to grab hold of them with and push them in or kind of pull them in with something.
Yeah.
Because some of them can be pretty tough. All right, feels fine.
Okay.
All right, so this hose. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my length. Okay. All right. So when I'm done with this line here, which I'm not, it's gonna sit right about here. I gotta fix a couple things on it. Okay.
Okay.
But so, and then I take a piece of high temperature wrap over it, and good. So that's my pressure line going to it. It'll get 2 hose clamps going there once I finish this line going up to the fuel rail, and then 2 clamps, right? And then I make sure the high temperature wrap fits it good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's it going to the fuel rail.
Okay.
All right. So for pressure, now all we got to do is get pressure from the other tank.
Okay.
All right, so to finish up the pressure side of the system, we're gonna make a line that just runs from here over to this one. I believe that's the pressure side, right? Yeah. So we're gonna just bend us up a steel line to go across that cross member.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of cut it to length so I don't have to fight with it in there. I've made a lot less flares on this one.
Yeah.
Let's go make some bets. I could almost do it straight, you know, but that wouldn't look cool. Yeah. So I'm going to put a bend in it right there so it is up above that cross member.
Oh, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah. Okay, and I'll bend it back the opposite direction. This one about there. All right, so this stuff's pretty forgiving. You have to tweak it a little bit. Okay, so then I just need to make a little bend out here, going towards there, because you don't want your clamps and that just butted right up against the frame, right? This is where you buy a ton of this stuff, because you're gonna mess it up.
Yeah, you never buy the exact amount of tubing you need.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll do the same over here, but make a little bit more of a bend. Hello. Okay. Look good?
Sweet.
Ah, sweet. Let's put some flares in.
Okay.
Okay. If you're doing that, make sure you get all the burrs out of it. Right?
Maybe like chili or something?
Cockleburrs.
Ooh, Juice knows about those.
Yeah, really. Yeah. Okay.
Sweet.
That one looks nice.
Very nice.
Do another. I bought this tool in the early 90s. Can you imagine how many flares
Oh, I don't
it's
even know.
probably done?
I don't want to know.
No. Okay.
Sweet.
They're good. So I'm going to have a high pressure line that goes to here. And then this one will go to here. But we need to tie it to this somehow. And that's where these come in.
Sweet.
So we're going to use these on them. That will hold it in place. Okay, so there's already some holes that are made for us here in this one. So I'm just going to go ahead and use those holes. I kind of planned that a little bit. Just when I looked at it, I said, oh, that'll work good. I'm not going to tighten these clamps down because I think we're going to use the same bolt holes on the back side for the return line. Okay. So we'll just have some other clamps right behind it on that thing.
Okay.
Okay, so now we make our line go into here. This one's already cut the length. Let's do it. The length on that one worked out perfect. It'll go just right, so. All right, enough on there for 2 clamps. All right, so this one here, it ain't gonna go on that far, so right there. All right, yeah, that's far enough. Okay.
There you go.
So by the time we're done, we'll have this tight so it doesn't move. We'll probably have to add another fitting to it. Mm. Okay. It's still real nice. I like it.
Yeah.
Pretty happy with it. The pressure lines, they'll get a piece of conduit put around them. Okay. Keep them from rubbing on the frame or anything else. All right. The fuel filter. The reason I don't like the Corvette filters, okay? This filter is $10, okay?
Yep.
It's a Wix high quality filter. The Wix Corvette filter is $50 the last I looked. So these trucks tend to not get driven a bunch, and they have a potential for getting a little bit of rust in the tank. And
yeah.
So
you never know.
Eventually, I hope this guy drives us enough that that doesn't happen, but that would need to be replaced periodically, and I don't want it to be $50 just for the part. Plus, I'll have to pay somebody to put it in, so it's expensive.
Yeah.
Okay, this thing is expensive also. It's $200, but if you replace that filter a few times, that thing's paid for. Okay,
Yeah.
And I have had the Corvette filters leak, and I have never had one of these leak.
Yes.
All right. So that's why I like doing these, and I just like having a fuel pressure regulator. And if you got a regulator that's up on the fuel rail, great. Then that eliminates having to have this. But when you've got a donor that doesn't have a regulator up on the fuel rail, then you got to do something.
Yep.
So that's my opinion. And I know that other people do it a different way, but this is how I do it, okay?
Okay.
So on to the return lines.
On to the return.
Okay. Okay, so we've got to get to work on the return system, okay?
Okay.
And the way we are going to do the return system is it will return out of that pressure regulator. It will come to that switch valve.
Very nice.
Okay. Not this switch valve.
Not that one.
Okay. And it's this line will feed into this port, and then with no power going to it, it naturally just comes out this line. Okay.
Okay.
So that one this line we will feed to the left-hand tank. All right.
Okay.
And then the other line, it will be fed to the right-hand tank, and it will be given 12 volts by the same relay that turns that fuel pump on, and it will also supply 12 volts to that.
Yep.
In turn, making the pressure or the return fuel go to the right tank.
Yep.
Okay. So aside from the 2 electric fuel pumps, just 1 solenoid that turns a valve on and off.
Yes.
Okay.
Sweet.
So not a lot to go wrong. In the event that this thing did fail, the worst thing that would happen would be you could run either pump that you have, you know, right or left-hand tank. It'll still do the same thing, but if this valve failed, it would just return fuel into the left-hand tank.
Yeah, it would just default to...
Yeah, so that's worst case if that thing failed, okay? So it isn't going to leave you stranded, okay?
Yeah.
So it's not going to leave you stranded.
Yeah, just saying.
Okay. So, alright, so it'd be easier to clamp this one hose on right here on the bench before we mount the thing.
What'd you call me?
Bench.
Oh, my mistake.
B-E-N-C-H.
Ah.
Bench. Alright, and even though it doesn't have any pressure going to it, I'm just going to use fuel injection hose for the whole thing.
Okay.
You know, maybe it'll last longer, or who knows.
A little overkill.
Yeah. Okay, and this is 5/16. You can get these little clamps for pretty much any size.
Yep.
Let's go bolt it in, okay?
Sweet.
Okay. Lock washer. This thing is also, it's ground, okay?
Oh, yeah.
So when I wire it, I'll add a ground underneath that one. So I won't tighten them up just yet. I'll wait.
There it goes.
Alright, I'm gonna tighten it up just a tiny little bit, okay? Right, so now we need to make a steel line that goes from our regulator up through here, around and into there.
Okay.
Okay?
Alright.
So in order to make a 90 loop all the way around there, you gotta kind of do it in stages. Come back just a little ways. See what I'm doing? See where I'm going with it?
Yep.
Okay.
The background is weird.
You're weird. Well, I'm only joking. Okay, come around like that. Behind the thing, let's go back up right here. Oh, I'd be amazed if I could get this in one truck. From there, I'm gonna go up a little bit. There, back down. Not even gonna have to cut the length, are we? I want it through there, so that way it doesn't go anywhere near those bolts.
Yeah.
And I can tie it real good. Okay.
Yeah. I like that.
Alright, so I gotta put a little flare on my end here.
Okay.
And put a line there. We'll put this thing up in there. We'll make one little bend over for this.
Pull it away from the frame.
Yep.
Sweet.
Make a hose go into it. Let's just do that now. Okay. Alright.
Okay.
There we go. Alright, let's make a flare.
Okay.
And the return line doesn't have pressure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or at least it's not supposed to.
Yeah.
But I would still put a flare on it.
Yeah.
Alright, there's that little nub.
Nub.
Yeah, that. Oh yeah, perfect.
Sweet.
So let's put some line at the end of this one, and then we'll do our pressure regulator line.
Okay.
And I'll just do one clamp because it doesn't have any pressure. Put it off there. So, on our fuel pressure regulator, 5/16, it's not a push lock, okay? We'll put a clamp on it. Alright. Okay, so now we need our line from here to there. Okay. Don't forget your clamp.
Yeah.
Grease this one a little bit, make it a little easier. Yeah. There we go. That looks good, right?
Sweet.
Yeah, while we're at it, let's go ahead and we'll hook the return to the left-hand tank up.
Okay.
Okay, so the way it is right now, if we fired up the left-hand tank with no power at all going to this thing, it would still return into the left-hand tank.
Yep.
Okay, so now we got to make the line that goes over to the right-hand tank. Okay. This hose will just go basically straight into it right there.
Okay.
And then I will make this kind of come around and go under and connect to this one.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Okay.
So birds are not happy.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to do it with 90s, you know.
Ding! It's done.
And like I said, I wanted to use my same bolts, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna put the same bend in this one. I'll go up here, and then over this hump, and back down, and should be just right, you know.
Sweet.
So.
Oh, I think I finally understand, like, those Greek statues.
Oh yeah? Why? Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Those statues were nude. Well, double it down to my middle one. Oh, I missed that one just a little. It's all right though. All right, so I just need to maybe bend this up and out just a little bit. Okay. All right, let's go do a couple more flares and we're done.
Awesome.
All right, so, and okay, so let's put our hangers there.
Okay.
So that is it. So return's all done.
Cool.
Except for wiring that solenoid. And I gotta add some clamps to this line to hold it in place. But that's it. I'll probably do one right here because it's easy to get a hold of. And then I'll do one back here somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. 2 clamps on that to keep it from moving around. In fact, I'll probably put one on the end of this too.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so that's it for the fuel pressure lines and the fuel return lines on this thing, okay?
Sweet.
I do it this way. I think it's a lot simpler. It's certainly when it comes time to replace the fuel filter, it's just a matter of undoing this line and that line, your clamp, sliding your filter out like normal and putting it back in, and it's only going to be $10, okay?
Yes.
And then, you know, the return line, we're just relying on this solenoid here to switch over our return sides. So using that, even if it was to fail, everything will be fine, okay?
Okay.
And everything that we did there is capable of holding 225 pounds max pressure, okay?
Yeah. Yep.
So, like I said before, this thing, 65 pounds is its max pressure on it. And if a line was to go bad or get pinched or whatever, an accident, the fuel pumps put out about 100 pounds, which exceeds what this thing is supposed to handle. So that's why I don't care for them. And these are also very unreliable.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So that's why. And we've done this in the past and it has worked flawlessly.
Yes.
Okay? The only thing left, EVAP purge. EVAP purge is going to get a little involved on this one, so we're going to do a totally separate video on that. Yep. And go over everything anybody would ever possibly need to know about EVAP purge.
Yep. Yeah, that's something that you guys have asked about a lot, so we'll give you a whole EVAP video.
That's right. That's what we're going to do.
Yep.
Okay, that's it.
So there you go. As always, we hope this video helps you out. If you have anything to add, any questions, let us know down in the comments below. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. It really helps us out. We appreciate you guys watching, and we will catch you next time.